Good morning, everyone. My name's Sarah and this is my garden. This is my third year growing a vegetable garden and my first year growing in raised beds, and I am loving it. I don't think I will ever go back to exclusively in-ground beds ever again. It's just been such a fun experience. So welcome to my garden. Yeah, I'm really excited. I can't wait to show you everything. Let's get into it. Wow! This is garden tour 5, I think. And last week I started off by saying this is a really exciting week. So much has happened, but that's nothing compared to this week and how much has happened. It's been absolutely wild. The growth is crazy, and I think this is just the beginning of a new theme in the gardening, which is this is such an exciting week. So much has happened. I'm standing in front of the flower bed right now, and the flower bed has just exploded where I almost can't see the soil anymore. I still don't have any blossoms, which I was so sure I would get some this week, but that's fine, at least not from my seeds. I do have these little flowers, but I actually think they might be weeds. I'm not even sure if they're part of the flower mix, but whatever, it's fine. My Tomatillo, both this one and the one in the other bed, are just going absolutely crazy. You can see, here's one right here, and another one coming, like they're just all over. There's more. They're just everywhere. See that? There he is. I'm so happy. Last year I did get some husks, but I never got one that was ripe enough. If it ripened enough that it fell to the ground, always, either a squirrel or a rabbit got it before I could. And that's because before I had an in-ground bed along this fence line, and it was just always full of rabbits and squirrels, and even though we had it fenced in, they still made their way in there. So that's life, I guess, in the garden. But this year we're in a raised bed, so I'm hoping that I'll at least get some. Fingers crossed. And my snap peas are still going. Look at that blossom. I can't believe this, guys. Like, we're having some flowers that are dying away, but like, look, here's another pea, there's another pea, there's another pea. This bed of peas isn't doing nearly as well as the other bed. The peas are just boggling my mind because it's July now. No, it's July tomorrow. And the peas should be like long gone by now. Totally dead. And there'll be a few days where they'll start to look really sad. They'll start to get yellow. The flowers will be dying back, and I'll think, oh, okay, I guess it's time to pull them out. I'll give them a couple more days so that the peas that are on there can mature, and then I'll pull them out. And then by the time it's a few days later, they've got all new flowers, they've greened up again, and I've got tons and tons of peas. So I'm just gonna let them keep going, I guess. I'm kind of wanting to pull them out because it's getting so crowded, but if they're producing, why would I stop that? And the sunflowers are getting very tall. We had a windstorm, and, well, at least a very windy storm, and this one kind of fell over, so I'm just kind of holding him up, and he's a little sideways, but you know, it's fine. I don't have room to stake it, so that's what we're gonna do for now. And my rhubarb is starting to die back a little bit, just getting smaller and not producing quite as much, but that's fine. It's the time of year anyway, so I'm not shocked. Now here are my beans on this side of the trellis, and I'm not sure, but I'm afraid I might have bought bush beans. All these yellow ones, like light colored ones, those are yellow beans. I just sort of bought them on a whim from a garden center, and I thought they were pole beans, but, well, this one has a tendril, but I know that bush beans can get tendrils, like runners. Let's get him onto the trellis. I know bush beans can get runners. This one here is a blue lake pole bean. the same as the other side. But I just don't know. I'm really worried because if they are bush beans, I'm just gonna have to tear them all out because they're way too close together to grow as bushes. Here are my 2 cucumbers on this side. They're looking really sad. They definitely got hit hard from the attack of the cucumber beetles. But look at, see that little leaf? That wasn't there before, so I know they haven't got that horrible bacterial infection. This leaf I'll probably cut away because these 2 are looking really healthy, but I don't know if these will end up taking off. We will see. I showed this in last week's garden tour, but I don't know if you could really tell, but this is a sunflower that has grown through the trellis into a new spot. So we're gonna have a sunflower inside the archway. That's fine. And then here are my cucamelons. These guys definitely got hit the hardest. My cucamelons and my cucumbers, of course, for cucumber beetles. They got hit really hard. They're looking much sadder than last week. Lots of munching. Where the cucumber beetles eat, it almost looks like it's burnt. It's very strange. So any like this, I've just been trying to sort of pluck it away just in case it does have that infection in it to try and stop the spread. But look at that. See that? That is a cucamelon. And there's a few kind of all over, so. I made a video on my battle against the cucumber beetles, which has been successful. I only see 1 or 2 each time I go out to the garden, which is a couple times a day. From seeing like easily 50 to 100 a day, having it down to 5 or 6 is, I think, a success. I'm gonna continue doing the soak for the roots of the vegetables that I see them on, just in case they are planting larvae, but I would say it was a success. So if you are fighting cucumber beetles, I am so sorry, it's the worst. And I wish you all the best of luck. But yeah, this bacterial infection, the best way you can know if your plants have it is they'll just stop growing. So it's really, really unfortunate. Something I always forget to hit on in these garden tours is my celery. So here's one, here's one, here's one, and there's another one over there. They're doing really well. This was, I think I filmed a video talking about these, but I didn't actually post it. So I have tried to grow celery before and failed miserably. And I told myself I'm not doing celery, at least not for a while. I need a few years off because like they didn't even germinate. It was just so bad. But I was at a garden center, the same time I got the possibly bush beans. And I saw them and I just was like, you know what, let's just try. I'll try them from start so I have a better chance. And they're actually doing well, so that's pretty cool. I don't know when I'm supposed to start the blanching process. They say like 3 weeks before you're gonna harvest them, but I don't know when I'm supposed to harvest them, so. Look at this pea. It's split open. My hanging baskets are doing very well. This is my strawberry mint and woolly thyme, and both are just getting bigger and bigger every day. These ones with the citronella are also doing really well. This one's starting to spill over, which is exciting. This one, I had planted forget-me-not seeds. They never germinated, so I put some more in. And also for thyme, I don't know if they're gonna germinate. Whatever, it's fine. Okay, moving on to the east bed, or the tomato forest. This is so crazy. My tomatoes have just gotten so bushy and so big. I've been heavily pruning them, and I think I could prune them even more. We've got lots of flowers on the tomatoes, like lots and lots of flowers. And I even have found a few tiny little tomatoes coming up. So that's really exciting. I think next year I will not plant them so close together. The square foot gardening method does say that a tomato only needs 1 square foot. And yes, they're doing fine with only 1 square foot, but it's just so hard to get in there and find suckers and even to water them to see where the base of the plant is. It's getting so difficult, And so next year, I think I'll probably do it more of like a checkerboard every other, and then plant something else in between. I just need to think of what plants would go well in where it's going to be quite heavily shaded when they get large. I'm even thinking of maybe putting like a tomato cage in those upside down and tied up at the top and growing more pole beans or maybe even peas on it in the spring because they grow really fast and will get nice and tall. That's what I'm thinking. But I don't know if you have any suggestions of what I could plant sort of in between tomato plants that will not get choked out, please let me know. But yeah, they're going crazy. So I just hope that when the time comes to pick the tomatoes that I can see them. And here are my cucamelons on this side. They're actually better than the other side. Look, we've got some growing up high here and some growing up high here. I wish they were getting more sun. Like, they definitely are taking off slower than they could, and I think that's just because the tomatoes are shading them for most of the day. In the future, I think what I'll do for my trellised plants, I'll start my starts for the trellises earlier, even though it's not a, like, you don't really want vining plants to be super huge before you put them in. Yeah, I will either start them earlier, put them in the ground earlier, or I will delay planting my tomatoes and I will just pot them up a little bit longer so that the other plants that are trellised have more of a better head start than what they do this year. And here are the peas. Look at how incredibly dense that is. Like, here's a good sized pea. I'll be having you for lunch. And actually, if I bring you in underneath, look. How many peas do you see? My radishes I've almost totally pulled out. Actually, here, I'm gonna get rid of this guy. Oh, this one's from my first planting, and you can see it's not huge. This is my second succession of them, and I have very, very little hopes for them. Just because it's been so hot, so I don't anticipate much. Here's my sunflowers, and look. That one's gonna bloom soon. These ones aren't, not yet. But that's okay, it's exciting. Yellow onions, not much to report. Carrots. I had a much smaller germination rate on my second succession. I was gonna keep going, but I just realized, you know, it's getting too hot, so there's no point. And look at this basil plant. It's just enormous, and it just gets bigger and bigger every day. I gotta prune that way back, way back.